My brother inherited the family business, failed miserably, and now they want me to work for free. I'm 33, male, and honestly, I never expected my life to get so tangled up in my family's mess again. I thought I was done with it all. But here we are. Let me start from the top. My dad built a manufacturing company from scratch. Nothing big, but it paid the bills and then some. Growing up, it was the family's identity. You know how it goes: blood, sweat, and tears go into something, and suddenly it's a legacy. My older brother M was always the one they were grooming to take over. He went to business school, shook hands with all the right people, and he wore that "I'm next in line" look on his face for years. Me, I was the second kid, the artsy one. I never had any illusions that I'd be running the family business, and I was okay with that. I've always been a bit of a black sheep taking a different route. No one ever asked me if I wanted to be involved, and I didn't ask either. It was just kind of understood that M would get everything, and 3 years ago, that's exactly what happened. My dad handed him the company, no conversation with me, not even a token offer. I was at the dinner table one day, and suddenly my brother is the king of the castle, and I'm sitting there with a fork in my hand like a stranger in my own family. But I didn't say a word. I didn't want the business anyway, right? So I let it go. Easier to stay quiet than to fight over something I didn't want in the first place. Now here's where it gets good. Fast forward to now, and the company's tanking. M took over, made all the wrong calls, bad deals, dumb investments, you name it. And in 2 years, he's run Dad's pride and joy into the ground. And what do you think happens? Do they hold him accountable? No. They're still treating him like he walks on water. Meanwhile, I've been minding my own business, working my steady job, watching from the sidelines as the whole thing falls apart. Then last month at one of our awkward family dinners, they spring this on me. I'm sitting there chewing through a dry piece of chicken, and my dad clears his throat, the same way he did whenever he was about to lay something heavy on us. "We need to talk," he says, glancing over at M, who's staring at his plate like it's got all the answers. I already knew where this was going, but I played along. "Okay, what's up?" My mom jumped in like she was softening the blow. "M's been having a tough time with the business, and we were thinking maybe you could help out." I stared at her for a second, then looked at M. He couldn't even meet my eyes. "You want me to help him with the business?" "Well, yeah," my dad said like it was the most obvious thing in the world. "You've got good people skills, and the company could really use some new ideas. You two working together could turn things around." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "And how much are you planning to pay me for this?" Silence. "We were hoping," my mom said cautiously, "that you'd be willing to do this as family. Help out without worrying about the money part." I had to laugh. I couldn't help it. I leaned back in my chair and let it out, loud and bitter. They all just sat there, staring at me like I was the crazy one. "Let me get this straight," I said, still chuckling. "You want me to come in and clean up his mess for free?" "It's not like that," my dad said, clearly annoyed. "We're family. We're supposed to help each other out." I looked at him, then at M, who was still avoiding eye contact. "Help each other out? When the hell did any of you help me out? You handed him the business without even thinking about me. And now that he's trashed it, I'm supposed to jump in and save the day? For nothing? That's not fair," my mom cut in. "We didn't mean to make you feel left out. M was just better suited for it, and you didn't seem interested." "Yeah, and I wasn't," I shot back. "But that's not the point. The point is, you didn't even ask me. You gave him everything and left me with nothing. And now that he's screwed up, you want me to fix it for free. Do you even hear yourselves?" M finally spoke up, sounding defensive. "I didn't ask for this, okay? I didn't ask for things to go wrong. But things happen, and I'm doing my best. I just need some help." I turned to him, shaking my head. "You don't need help. You need someone to clean up your mess for you. And I'm not your guy. We're not asking you to take over," my dad said, his voice tight. "Just to give your brother a hand." "A hand?" I scoffed. "No, what you want is a free employee. You didn't give me a stake in the business. But now you want me to do the dirty work. That's not how this works." And finally looked at me. "You've always been bitter, haven't you? That's why you're acting like this. Because you didn't get the business." I stood up, the anger boiling over. "You think I'm bitter? You ran Dad's company into the ground because you're a cocky idiot. And now you want me to come in and play hero because you can't handle the pressure. That's not bitterness. That's me knowing my worth, which is clearly more than any of you ever gave me credit for. That's enough." My dad barked, standing up too. This isn't about who's right or wrong. This is about the family business, about keeping the family together. I grabbed my jacket and started heading for the door. You know what? You can keep your family. I don't owe you anything. I walked out, leaving them sitting there in stunned silence. As soon as I got home, I felt this rush of relief. I was done. Done being the backup plan, done being the guy they only called when they needed something. I wasn't going to let them guilt me into fixing their mess. I deserved better. A week later, M called me. I wasn't going to answer, but curiosity got the better of me. We talked it over, he said, his voice strained, and we're willing to offer you a small percentage of the business if you help out. Like 5%. I laughed into the phone. Are you serious? You think 5% is going to get me to drop everything and come save your ass? It's more than you had before, he said, like he was doing me a favor. I could feel my blood boiling. More than I had before? You're seriously offering me a sliver of the thing you got handed on a silver platter? No, man, I'm not playing this game with you. Come on. I go to hell, M. I hung up the phone and didn't look back. But that wasn't the end of it. A couple days later, my mom called crying. She said if something didn't change, they'd have to sell the business. She laid it on thick about how hard Dad worked to build it, how proud he'd been of it, how it was his legacy. That's not my problem. You don't mean that, she sobbed, trying to guilt me into caving. I do mean it. You and Dad made your choice. You chose M. Now you have to live with that. For a while after that, the call stopped. I thought maybe they'd finally gotten the message. But M showed up at my apartment one night, looking like absolute hell. I almost didn't let him in, but part of me was curious to see what he'd say. I'll give you more than 5%, he said. Name your number. I looked him up and down, my anger simmering just below the surface. You really think this is about money? You think you can buy my help? M looked desperate. I'm just trying to fix things. Fix things? I scoffed. You can't fix anything. You're just trying to drag me down with you. No deal. He stood there for a minute, like he couldn't believe I'd actually say no. Then he just nodded, turned around, and left. That was the last time I saw him. The business was sold a few months later. I heard through the grapevine that my parents were devastated. My dad had to swallow his pride and sell off the company he'd spent his whole life building because M couldn't hack it. And you know what? He didn't got it. Not anymore. A couple of months after the sale, my dad called. I almost didn't pick up, but something in me just wanted to hear what he had to say. He started, his voice softer than I'd ever heard. Your mom, and we wanted to talk. About what? About everything, he said, sighing deeply. The business, the way we treated you. We were wrong. I didn't say anything. I just sat there, holding the phone. We were wrong to treat you the way we did, my dad continued. We should have included you from the start. We made a mistake. I'm sorry. I let the words hang in the air for a moment, unsure how to respond. Part of me wanted to yell at him, unload all the years of frustration, but I didn't. Instead, I just said, I appreciate that, Dad, but it's too late. I understand, he replied, his voice strained. I just wanted you to know. We sat in silence for a few seconds before I hung up. I didn't feel triumphant or angry, just done. The kind of done where you finally realize you're free of someone else's weight. In the end, M moved away, and my parents stopped calling me for favors. The family business was gone, but I had my peace. It wasn't the closure I expected, but it was the one I needed. So, to anyone out there dealing with entitled family members or people trying to use you, don't let them. You don't owe anyone your time or energy. Walk away when you need to. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them. So please leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more stories like this one.